So the last time we spoke, I think I went a little. I was told to basically let's start from the beginning more, right? Because the first time we spoke, the last class we spoke about, we went over a few things, but we also spoke about a lot of major gifts. But I know that a lot of people in this room were not necessarily starting that way. I mean, I did not start that way either. We're going to go back to the beginning, right? Because when I first started out, there were a few things I had to learn. The first one was that 20% is a good number. What do I mean by that? It means if 20% of people answer your phone call, that means that you're having a good day. Okay, that's the first thing. Then after that, I would say almost 90% of the people you do get a hold of are probably going to say no. So if you have an ego of any sort, or if you're afraid to get rejected, then fundraising is not where you should be. You should just leave now. Okay, that's the first thing. I know a colleague of mine, very close colleague of mine, that is not scared of sirens or rockets at all whatsoever. And me, I like to follow the rules. One thing he cannot do, he cannot make phone calls because he hates rejection. So he actually sets the meetings up beforehand just for the phone call. Me, I wouldn't do that. I would just call them straight, like to rather catch them off guard. But most of the time, they're not going to answer. And if they do answer, they're probably going to say, who are you and what are you doing? There was a lady I called the other day. She gave us $180, but our prospecting system shows that she's actually very wealthy. I called her and she's like, send me mailing. And then I tried to counter that with a few other things. But she was a cranky old lady. But then you have to remind yourself that it's not you. They're not mad at you. They get asked all the time by a bunch of different people. And they're just, you can't take it personally. If you take it personally, then it's not a game for you. Now, we've had a lot of people come through the development department. Interns all claim they can raise money, and so they all have these great ideas, which is great. But the first thing we ever want to see is that you're willing to put in the work. Now, everyone wants the shiny object. If you're not willing to put the work in, when I first started, it was 2,000 phone calls I went through. And what's 20% of 2,000? Very small. Someone do the math for me.
100. Yeah.
What is it? 400. So out of the 2,000 people I called, only 400 answered. And on top of that, how many of them said yes? Probably almost none of them. Because none of them are in my accounts anymore.
4.
So probably.
5. That's 8, not 8.
Let's just go with 4. 4 sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to put the work in. Call everybody you know. Start thinking about everybody. Start with $5. Start with $10. Start with $100. Because you have to start from somewhere. So if you're afraid of rejection, then get over it now, or prep yourself mentally that you're going to get rejected. And that's with them not answering your phone. That's calling them again. Like the go till no aspect applies even when you call the first time, the third time, or the seventh time, and they haven't answered any time. The guy I called today, he pledged $10,000. Okay, and it's probably been about a month and a half. I called him because he hasn't sent it in yet. He will send it in right away. And he said, "Oh, did I not send the wire? I meant to send it." He transferred money from a shekel to Australian dollar to then wire it to Israel. I don't know why he did it, but either way, he sent it. And on the phone, he's like, "Oh, I transferred money and it's sitting in my account. I thought I sent it already," and he didn't, because they're just busy. So if I held by, I'm annoying him, because I called him 5 times, then I would just stop. Oh, he doesn't want to answer me. He thinks I'm annoying. No, he just forgot. He was busy. Got a lot going on. Right. So, and we're going out to coffee next week, or the week after. I'm not here, but either way, that was the end of the phone call. He transferred the money on the line and stuff. I gave him all the information, transferred it in, and then we didn't end with that. We continue the conversation. You have to make sure that you keep going as we're going. Make sure it's not just about the money. Okay.
What else did you say?
Huh?
What else did you talk about?
Oh, afterwards? Oh, I always go back to the weather, which is horrible. But
no way.
The guy's sitting there waiting for the transfer to go through. I said, "How's the weather in Australia?" He goes, "Oh, it's raining all day." And I said, "Well, it's super hot here, so if you come here, make sure the air conditioning's on before you walk into your house." Which my guess is yes, some button he pushes the transfer on. That's my guess. But it doesn't matter, because then afterwards, I'm like, "Okay, so safe travel." I told him I was traveling also. So I said, "So safe travels by you. Hopefully we'll get together when all of us are back." He goes, It sounds like your plan." So did he mean it? Did he not? Who knows? But it gives me permission to go back to him and ask him for coffee. And I called the guy. So some guys you call, they give them $5,000, and then you ask them for 10, and they get very hesitant. So you know that the guy's wheelhouse is probably 5 to 7,200, just based off the body language and what you're hearing. There's another guy you call, ask for $10,000, and without any hesitation, you go, sure. Had him like I should ask for 50. Like, there's no hesitation. You have to read. You have to be sophisticated enough in the conversation itself to understand where am I going with it. Okay? Yeah, you ask the right questions to lead into the right conversation. Yes.
How do you prospect to understand how much they might be willing to donate? Do you have that beforehand, or like?
So we usually have it beforehand. So I mentioned a few times in the class before this, which was there's some systems you can use that track how much people have given philanthropically. A lot of them in the 5 towns hide their money somewhere. I can never find it. They're the worst. I cannot. Every time I look at someone in the 5 towns, I can't. None of it is logged correctly. That's hard to find. But you can Google them. Depending on what level they are, you can either find them very clearly. I do Gemini and ChatGPT. They all can find all the stuff online for you. You just have to ask the right questions. But 30% of it is accurate, and then you get a general idea. Like, let's say someone you think they can afford $1 million, but they're only giving $50,000 gifts. You're probably, if you're not tier 1, because they're $50,000, they're probably giving for a while. So there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is usually school, shul, and hospital. You want to be the top of tier 2, especially an organization like Aish. Now, if you're a local branch of Aish, like in Florida, you can be a tier 1. People, tzedakah-wise, the Torah says is to support your local community first. So my goal is Aish Global is if they're Israel givers, that's a different story. But if you're talking about someone that lives in Florida and they give to school, shul, and hospital, you want to be top of tier 2. So after they're done giving that, there was a guy I met with in Florida. He lived in some private area, I forget what it's called, somewhere in Miami. And he says he counts Aish as their Israel giving. Okay, so he gives to the school, the shul, the local youth, NCSY over there. He gives to the hospitals, gives to Chabad. So we fall down that list. So was it worth my time going anymore? That's a different conversation. Make sure your time is worthwhile. So if you're focused on $10,000 gifts, you know the guy's going to cap out, even though he can give 50. If he's going to tap out at 5,000 for you, then is that worth your time or not? Right, the ROI. So for some, yeah, it's worth it. For some, it's not. If you know that somebody can get them to 50, okay, that's a conversation. But if the plan is at least reach out to them once a quarter, and not every week or so, once every 2 weeks, it all depends on the person and personality and whatnot. So, and the way you label that is, I mentioned at the end of the last class, which is height and heat. Okay, which the mentor of mine taught me, which is his own mahalach, which is actually fantastic. You basically discuss height, right? What's the height? The height is on that 5-point scale. Who did I tell a 5-point scale to last time? Who's sitting over there? The guy that I saw downstairs is not coming. No. Good, I guess he got all he wanted. The 5-point scale. So let's say the 5-point scale is, for example, let's say someone's top capacity gift is $100,000. Okay, so you have a 5-point scale. 5 is 100,000. Okay, the 4 is going to be 75,000. The 3 is going to be 50. The 2 is 25,000, and the 1 is 10. Okay, so on that scale, you rank all of your prospects, all the people you know at their capacity level, which is 5. And someone, if their capacity level is a 1, then 10,000 in, all in between. At their highest level, that's how much they can give. Then you have a heat scale. How much do they care about Aish, the organization that you're about to run? How much do they care about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to avoid 3 on that scale because that's just a cop-out. Either they really love you or they don't. If 3 is like, oh, they're 50-50. I try never to put 3s. Okay, but if you can rate their heat and their height, and you have someone that's a 5-5, that's your top prospect. Someone that's a 1-5, you have to build them up to get to the 5. Does that make sense? You have a 5, your capacity is 100, and you want this guy to give you money, but he only knows Aish very little. He barely knows the name. So your job is to meet with this person and raise them from 1 to 2 to 4 to 5. But then once you get there, once he's a 5-5, now you can add capacity. And I have plenty of examples of that. There was a guy here that gave $25,000 was his first gift. And in the room, he said, that's it. And that was horrible. Because you should ask for more. Most people go in and they're like, oh, I want 100,000. The guy doesn't know them. And Aish has something to stand on because it's a great name. We said 25,000 just to get you to the summit because that was a qualification to get into our big event in Florida. And then right after that, he gives 6 figures, and then just recently they give 7 figures. But that's because we built it up over a period of time. We raised them from a 1 to a 5. That's for meeting it from the beginning. And then you built up over time. And there was a failed project there in the middle that they got a little upset about, but we went back in there and we were authentic. We said, this is what happened. It turned into this. And then now their name is on one part of the building that I can't say. Yeah.
Getting people from a 1 to 5, how are you building that relationship? Is there like certain activities, dinners?
Great question. So yeah, I'm not really event based. I'm more one-on-one.
Sure.
There are different types of fundraising. There's event based fundraising, which my colleague in the States is very good at. Rachel Spitter. That's what she does. There's different avenues. I'm much more of a one-on-one. Let's meet with you and have a real conversation. The first one is I will go out to coffee, explain to them what Aish is, and then I ask them certain questions like, what are your philanthropic goals? And let them talk to you, and then you're listening to what they're saying, even though I already know what they are. I've done my research on it. But I'm listening to what they're saying, so it opens up an avenue for me to then say, oh, that correlates to what we're doing here at Aish this way. And then at the end of that conversation, I ask them, would it be okay if I send you a proposal for $100,000 or $10,000 in a couple of weeks? And they're like, sure. Then you start that off. But in that conversation, you're talking about Aish, how it aligns with their philanthropic goals. And the first gift, let's say, is $10,000, their capacity is $100,000. So after that $10,000, then the question is, how can we get them up higher? So you give them an update. Let's say they gave it towards student scholarship. So you highlight a student that did well. I ask Rabbi Green for this all the time. I usually get them, maybe not all the time, but we worked together. We had one of the students sponsor this past year, and then we gave them an update, and then that raised that from a 1 to 2 because he's seen my money goes somewhere, and then you raise it up again. And then next you would invite them to your annual meeting, whether he qualifies or not. The qualification is $25,000. He only gets 10, but he gets 100. You invite him anyways. And then that's probably one of your biggest raisers. He sees other people in the room that are supporters of Aish. So you do certain events, you do updates, and then every now and then. So that gets into 5. Yeah.
Can you speak a bit about what do you do with people you already know, family member? I feel like it'd be different. This whole approach is with like strangers.
Yes. But with family members, it's harder and it's easier all at the same time.
Family, friends, yeah.
Right, because family is hard. I actually have a cousin that's one of our big supporters. And I know my cousin very well, and he likes, how do I say this nicely? He has a bit of an ego. He thinks he's very good at what he does, and he is very good at what he does. And not as good as he thinks he is. Okay? Can't take that one off the recording. but either way, he's great. And I go to him and ask him for advice. Because that means that he's not taking ownership over my success in my organization. That's first thing. Yeah, so there's different avenues there. But friends and family, you just ask them, right? What's the 100% way you don't get money is by not asking. The way you do get money is by asking and then getting a no. But do you think that asking your brother for money is going to ruin your relationship with your brother?
I guess it's the people that you're not so close to them, but you can't just be like, whatever happens, because you have to face them again. You have to it's a bit more.
Right, so there's two approaches. Some people are completely scared to do it because they want to ruin the relationship, which is, I think, wrong. Because if you're just straightforward and you're like, hey, I've known you for 20 years, you know I'm not about the money, but this is important to me. And you have a real conversation about, I want to get out for breakfast, just to talk about this. Later we could go out to the ball game or we'll go to a hockey game or like meet them in shul. But specifically ask them for a meeting just to talk about Aish. Like, hey, I know that we talk about stuff all the time. It's important to me, and I take you out for coffee. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, especially with friends and family that you know you're going to see them again. But it's not just about the money. So everyone's scared because they're like, oh, if I ask them for money one time, you're going to think I'm a schnorr, which is a horrible word. But you're not. You're business partners. I give you an opportunity to change the world, and you have the money to do it. So let's work together to do that. But that's what you're giving off. It goes back to the mindset shift. Mindset shift is, I'm not a schnorrer. I'm not using you just for your money. Right? I have a project that I think you care about, and you have the finances to do that. So let's work together to do that together. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
You're great. Questions? No, you have one? Not really.
For another time.
Okay, for another time. Got it. Oh, I saw it just Okay. So let's go back to this idea that when you're starting out, you're not a schnorrer. Okay, and this is where there was a guy who told our CEO that he liked me as the fundraiser because I'm the only one that doesn't call him when he's on the bathroom. Everyone has horrible timing. This and that. Like every they call him, he's always in a bad spot. But whenever I call him, I don't know what time anything works. I just call him. I guess I got lucky. Again, first impressions also. I probably called him before at a bad time. The first time I called him probably had a great time, so it's fine. But the mindset shift that we were talking about before, which is that you're not coming here as secondary, right? You're just as important, if not more important than they are. Because they have money to give, they have too much of it. They don't do what do you do with what is it, $300 trillion? How much is the most worth now?
100 trillion.
Like he doesn't have
1 trillion.
He has a lot, and you can't spend that much money. So how do you spend that money? And we go back to what gives you the opportunity over somebody else. And one, if you can meet in person, it's even better. Because as the Rebbe that gave me smicha, he said that when you're teaching Torah, better do it in person because let them see it overflow. When you're teaching, you can see when your best teachers are the ones see they love it so much that it overflows. Same idea, when you care about your project enough, and you meet with them in person, your body language will give over that answer. That's why I love meeting in person. Okay, Zoom was good. It's not the same. Phone is the next best. Texting is the worst. Don't try to raise money over text. Some people, that's how they do it. And when you get close enough with somebody, you can text them. Okay, a guy texted me last night. I'm gonna do 25,000 instead of 50. But he knows I'm going back to him next week for a 6-figure gift. We had the conversation. I said, hey, we have a dollar shekel problem. Would you guys consider a gift of 50,000? Even though I'm gonna come back to you in June for transformational gift. We had that conversation, and there's another guy also. But again, the conversation is we're partners in this, and we need help. Okay, and you want to help, so let's combine those two together. All right. So again, the mindset shift is, oh, please give me money. That's not where you're going. Okay, because that's a horrible avenue to take. That sounds desperate, and nothing works out well when you're desperate. Okay. Second is that you're coming in as a professional, and they're professional. If you treat your organization like it's Hamish, they're going to treat you like you're Hamish. If you come in and you present it like you're professional, they'll treat you like you're a professional. And that will probably separate you from most people. Most people think that they're just Hamish. Let's walk in. No offense to anybody, but the guys that come in with a tie and top on unbuttoned, I don't like them. You walk into a business meeting, you have a tie or top on unbuttoned.
Not a job interview.
I don't walk in with a tie. One of my biggest accounts saw me in a suit once, and they said, take that off. So I took the tie off one night. But that's why I don't really wear a tie anymore. Because you go in comfortable, but you go in professional. I usually walk in and I was going to wear it today, decided not because it was too hot outside. But my vest, everybody knows my vest. It was a vest, and they made one with the Aish logo sewed into it. Because whenever I travel, I'm the VC look guy. Right, we have the vest on, no sleeves. That's my usual look when I walk in. Because that's just, if that's where I feel most comfortable, that's how I will come off the most confident. So you go that way. Any questions?
Where do we get those vests?
You have to raise a good amount of money.
It's an investment.
It's an investment. Nicely done.
That was fine.
We have some in the New Jersey office. I'll bring some back. Yeah.
You're dealing with small money, like a few hundreds.
Yeah.
You still come with the approach of like, we're partners in this. You make it such a big deal, or is that like you have to change the approach then?
Why not?
It just seems like if I would have said to a friend of mine who I'm asking for a couple $100, hey, we're going to be partners in this, and
we're trying to raise $100,000 for a student scholarship. Can you give $360? Because you don't know 2 years from now that they're gonna make a lot of money. You have no idea. And if you treat them the same as they give $360, you treat them the same as if they give $30,000, it's a win for both ends. Why treat the person that gives you $360 less than the person that gives you $300,000?
seems a bit uncomfortably over the top. But I hear.
Well, don't make it over the top. How you present it. You're presenting the same project. A guy that gives you $300,000, it's like $160 to the other person, right? Because they're making. It doesn't. Like if someone makes $1 million a day, him giving you $10,000 is the same as me giving you $10.
It's relative.
Yeah, huh?
It's relative.
Exactly, it's relative. So if you treat it that way, it's the most important project to you based on if you're talking to someone at a 60th floor or a guy in their living room. It's all same. It presents differently. Maybe the pitch material is different because someone gets more material than the other person, right? But the ask is still the same. The principle is: would you consider giving a gift of $100 to help with student scholarship? Would you consider a gift of $100,000 for student scholarship? It's the same thing. I may leave him with something if the guy's a $100,000 giver. Okay, yeah, $100. I'm not gonna make a whole pitch material for him, but if I have it anyways, I give it to him. Just the numbers in the back. If you're presenting it with numbers, you gotta change it in the back. Like just recently, we gave a proposal for a project we're building at Aish. One of them, I left the numbers in, ranging from 100,000 to 500,000, and then there's another one where I just took it out and I wrote a cover letter instead. There's two different strategies, but it's the same proposal. I took out one because it didn't look great, and I wrote a letter instead. But it's the same ask. You maneuver it a little bit. Questions? Nope. Okay. Next.
One question about.
Yes,
Yeah,
go.
Question. I actually wasn't at the last class. Maybe you already covered this.
Go for it.
Higher in the funnel when you're doing your prospecting in this system, is it like someone who has a relationship to Aish already? Is it like any type of Jews, only religious Jews? Like, how do you find?
Oh, we did talk about this last time. Sometime we had to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So that was in the last class.
Sure.
But if they have a relationship with Aish anyways, then that probably expedites their heat level.
Yeah.
For they probably start at 3. Because most people that have been through Aish love Aish.
Yeah.
Some people do not. So you probably can't raise money from them at all. But the ones that have been through Aish, you expedite that process, right? To act capacity. People that, when you're prospecting through, Jewish, not Jewish, religious, not religious, it's all the same. To me, the presentation's different. The same thing we're talking about. 100 to 100,000. We were talking about before, which I said it's an investment in the jacket because we were talking about a secular person, someone that's not Jewish. How you phrase Aish?
Yeah.
I pitch it as we invest in people.
Right.
Because Aish produces great leaders across the world, no matter how you look at it. So it's the same. It's just we asked our yeshiva, I think it was my second year, if we can pitch to people that are known for bad things. So the yeshiva ruled that if someone like Jeffrey Epstein, who's known to be a bad person, and that's what he's known for, we can't really raise money from him. But
Another individual.
a different individual, I'm thinking in my mind that I don't want, but a different individual that's known for something, but he's really known for something completely different that's good and great, and we can raise money from him. Who are they?
Donald Trump, you could say with him?
I said Trump, but I was thinking about
We were talking about three other names. Yeah.
Sackler was a good one.
Sackler.
What's Sackler known for? The opioids.
Yes.
Farm.
Yeah.
Right, they're known as great people, but like I know there's a building in England that pulled their name off of the building.
Many foundations gave money back to them. They
Right.
won't take it.
So that's the question. This person, I use this a little too else. The Kraft family, right? Robert Kraft. He's known for one thing, but he's known for everything else, and he's greatly known for that rather than that one thing he did a couple years ago. And so we raised money from him. That's really why we asked our yeshiva for that question. We were jumping about something else. Okay. No more questions. Got it. Okay, next.
Oh, do you create
Yes.
any custom products and experiences? For example, like a mentorship program, so that allows people to get involved with the key roof stuff, so that they are more connected with the students. So let's say that like Olami and what's the one, Birthright.
Yeah.
They're sending people on trips. Now the age range has been, it's gone, and so they subsidize some of the trips. Could you take funding in that way, sort of conduct the trips, and then also charge mentors to participate? So you sort of an experience as well.
I think I got what you're saying, but you guys ever see older men that learn in the base mentors?
Mhm.
So those guys are usually ones that come through our ELC program, Executive Learning Center. They reach out to us. We have a certain rebbeim that asks them questions, see how they want to process their learning. And then we create a whole curriculum for them, and then they pay for that service.
But for people that are already
And
learning,
then you have addition.
but people that are already learning, for example, you have Lakewood that has there are a lot of people there, and they might want to come to Israel, do some dining, go on the roof.
So we're not
And-
going to create that type of experience. Maybe we'll set them up that touring experience. But
But
from a
they
learning
would al-
perspective,
they would also come in and learn
so from a
for
learning
over a period
perspective,
of time, like a
we
mentor
have
strip.
the best educators in the world, no matter what level they're on.
Mhm.
So Aish has that capability of teaching them no matter how they choose to learn. Most people that are high level learning usually don't come to Aish. They usually go to the mayor or wherever. But people that are like just starting, like there's a guy recently that just came through, and he had a great time. He went to actually 3 different places he asked about. But Aish was the one that took him really seriously. One of them said, "Oh, just come and we'll set you up. You pay $100 a day." And then, but Aish, we sat with him, we went through the curriculum, and he ended up giving $10,000 on top of his regular experience.
Well, the idea with Aish is to take so
The
let's
idea-
go zero to something, correct?
Right.
So if you have people who are more religious and believe in that goal, that mission, getting them to participate, like you're saying, you want to get a guy with a heat level of 0, get him to 1, and then elevate him to a 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
He might be capable of 100.
Yeah,
and we
so-
got him in at 5. So how? So
We
just
got him in at 5?
You got him in at 1. He gave you 5 G's, 5
Okay.
bands, and you want to get him to 100, but you might have to do that in stages. You're saying,
Right,
So,
so-
getting him to interact with the product, like makeup, for example.
Exactly. So bring him for Shabbos. We bring us for Shabbos, experience Shabbos, and just watch.
So the answer is no. You don't have any experiences where you take, let's say, religious people that have money and getting them to interact with the students, mentorship in that kind of way, to where you also.
We don't have a mentor program. There's no mentor
Okay.
program. But we're also not going to make a program that we don't have.
Okay.
Meaning, Rabbi Berger, CEO, is very big on this.
Mhm.
We're not going to create a program just because the guy's willing to offer $100,000. We're not going to do something that's off mission. For something that's building a nonprofit, which is what you guys are here to learn about. Don't go off mission just because someone's offering you $40 million. $1 billion is the conversation. Right? But $40 million, the new executive vice president has told the story multiple times that he turned down a $40 million gift. The guy wanted full control of the old organization he was working for. And that's not worth $40 million, right? So, give or take, but we're not going to create something that's not mission aligned. And that's important. Okay, that's also where that's going far beyond what we're
Mission,
learning.
vision, values. But if it is in alignment,
If it is in alignment, then yeah, okay. If it we created a women's learning program where women come here and they learn as if they were in seminary. So we created that, and that's brought in a lot of money.
over 30, 40 million?
Over so far it's been 3 years old.
With the
Started
building and the whole thing?
over about 800,000.
Oh, that's it?
It's 3 years old. The first year was just
No, but how much for? Do you own that building?
which building?
The women's seminary building.
We leased that building.
Oh, you lease it, okay.
Yeah, it's leased for like 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's based off we were going to buy it, but our advisors told us don't buy it. Just lease it instead.
Because of Gary Barnett buying out the entire corridor.
Did you look him up afterwards?
No, I know who Gary Barnett is because I work in real estate.
Yeah, so Gary Barnett, which I'm calling today, he actually bought a bunch of land from was it
It's from the Greek Orthodox Church.
yeah, that one.
Oh,
That was a massive deal.
People are
Yeah.
pissed about it. I live in that neighborhood.
You live there?
I live in
Fine.
that neighborhood.
I'll tell Gary when I call him. I'll see if he says no this time. But that by the way was like my first year on the
It's
job.
$800 million deal.
He ended up somehow on that list because no one was in touch with him. Called him, and that was like a real dagger. I had to get over that one. I was saying in the first class, I've made hundreds of thousands of phone calls over the past 5 years just for Aish spot. And there's only one guy that ever said no, I'm not giving to Aish. Happened to be Gary Barnett, but I'm gonna call him back. I know the phone number works, which is the number one rule, right? What's the number one rule we spoke about last time? First thing you need, guys. The first thing you need.
Phone number, it works.
Two-way communication. Phone number that works, the same thing. Two-way communication is the number one thing you need. No two-way communication, you're talking to nobody. You have to be able to two-way communication.
Patience and persistence.
Happy Passover.
Exactly. What'd you say?
Happy Passover. Shoot my text.
Exactly. That's the example we gave. That's good. Everyone's listening. Good
You
word.
must create a two-way communication before you can ask for a major gift.
Yes. Correct, because then you can't actually ask for a major gift unless you have to talk to them, right? Oh, and the story I told last time about the donor's ego, that he was going to come back and give a scholarship, right? So that told everyone last time where we asked for the wrong number and we ended up going back to him and he gave the phone number. That was teamwork between me and Rabbi Green. Just FYI. Rabbi Green came up with a name. I'm like, oh, who are you talking about? And then we ended up, and then I knew who it was. That's my job to know. And then we worked that out pretty well. And hopefully he gives Tron a bit too.
That was not the order. I mean, he called me. That was.
Oh, okay, fine, good, even better. Okay, we can't share names, but let's talk about rejection for a second, because you're going to call people and they're gonna reject you, but they're not necessarily going to reject you. They're going to, for example, I was calling a guy and he said email me instead, because that's where he takes his requests. Right, you get this at any level, whether it's major gifts or not. Okay. And I was trying to get a meeting with him. We're going on like 2 years now. And I said, we'd love to bring the CEO with me and talk to you about how we can partner together to really change the world. He goes, if this is for a solicitation, now is not a great time. So how would you respond to that?
When's a good time next week?
Okay. Yes. Not bad. Not bad. But let's get more creative with that.
Happy to start a conversation.
Huh?
Happy to start a conversation.
Right. So
I'm interested in a relationship, not in a check.
that would be lying. We're not gonna go that
Say
way.
that.
But one way that we will go is, I understand that now is not a great time for solicitation. But when the time does come and you are ready for it, I would love for you to be up to date. You still have 30 minutes for me next week. Right? Because you're accepting that he's not gonna give you now. But no one gives away their last $1 million. It's very important. No one gives away their last $1 million. So if you see someone giving you $1 million somewhere else, they can give you $1 million also. Okay, so you just say, I know that if now's not a good time, can I still come to you so that when the time does come, we can say you can be up to date when you're ready. Now, the end of that story is that we ended up going. Okay, and she said she couldn't give, a well-known family. And at the end of the meeting, she liked it so much that she sent in her first-time gift ever of $5,000, which was not expecting at all. She should be giving closer to $1 million, but the fact that we went in knowing that we weren't going to get anything, ended up getting something. The first gift is always the hardest, and then you just build up from there.
When markets are turbulent, for example, when the
Yeah.
shekel's going all over the place, and you're seeing the market go up and down every other day, how do you continue fundraising at the levels that you are trying to do in the same times as a time like 2007 versus 2009? How do you make sure that you're still hitting the margins that you need to be able to make Aish profitable?
So we're not. That's straight up right now. We're not. We are still making asks, and that's what I'm working on right now. That's a lot of my trip next week, which is I travel monthly to raise some major gifts, but we're with about a 4.4% drop right now, and it's costing us, because Aish's budget's so big, it's costing us a little bit more than most nonprofits. Most nonprofits can't make it through the drop.
No.
So they have to have some backup. If we had an endowment, different story. Talking about that strategy, different time. But this guy that just gave $25,000 yesterday over text, that ask was, the dollar shekel is a problem. Can you help us before we talk to you in June? We asked him for an additional gift. Another guy asked for an additional gift. He says, my income is fixed. Where should I pull my money from? Which nonprofit should I pull my money from to give Aish more money? That was a tough conversation. But then at the end, he's like, no offense. I said, I was just doing my job list. It's my job to make an ask and raise money for Aish. He goes, don't worry, no offense taken. Even though the email sounded like he was offended. But that's why you never talk over text. But we're making asks across the board, trying to raise money and trying to keep up. So that's the answer to that question. You have to find a way, and you go back to your core members, with the core members to raise the money that you need. Okay. Here's a guy. I'm just trying. We have 10 minutes left. Give some real life examples. Oh, this is a great one for everyone that's starting out. Okay, we're talking about the basics today. All the principles we've said in the meeting before this, class before this, and this one, all the principles are the same across the board, just different levels. Okay, a perfect example of this is there's a supporter of ours, partner of ours, I don't like the word donor, a partner of ours that my first trip I ever took went to Arizona, which, by the way, a completely underrated city. Love that place. Everyone loves to raise money from New York and California, but Arizona is loaded. Okay, no one ever goes there. You should go. Your first trips, you go to the JCC. There's one lady back there that makes a fantastic coffee. Okay, and read the boards. Huh?
Milk and honey?
Yeah, is that what it's called? The one in the JCC? You live in Arizona?
Scottsdale, no.
Scottsdale. Yep, that's it. I went in there. I ordered the same coffee, but it's a different lady. I wait for that lady to come back. I don't know what time she comes in. We gotta find out. I sat there, and then you just read the board. So I ended up meeting a few guys. Either way, I ended up talking to this guy. He had to give it to Aish in maybe 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know. But he used to be a supporter of Aish. Things died down, CEO, transformation, whole thing. Either way, I went there. It was basically starting from scratch. He had to close a $500,000 gift he gave years ago that he couldn't afford. He closed that, and then I ended up going to him for the first time on my first trip. I did not know what I was doing at all whatsoever. But went in there, we schmoozed. You know, you learn on the job. At the end, I was trying to make an ask. I didn't really know how to do it at the time. Okay, we're talking about 5 years ago. But at the end, he said, "Okay, you know what? This is a good conversation. Let's start this relationship again at $18,000." It was great. I felt like I was on cloud nine. It was awesome. I don't know how the rest of the trip went. Probably not so good if I don't remember it. But that relationship over there, over time, because you first start out and you build that heat scale. That's what we're talking about. Give him updates. Call him regularly. When he came to Israel, we went to go visit him. Okay, we actually set him up with a Charusa. Because one of their main in the yeshiva. Whenever he comes in, they learn with him. And this built up his closeness with Aish. Then year 2, he ends up giving. He goes from 18,000 to 25. And then when the war started, I think when the war started, that's a long, was it 2 years ago already? 3, yeah, that makes sense. So 3 years ago when the war started, he ended up giving like an additional to his gift was 37,000. Then year 4, he ends up giving 50,000. And then last year, that studio you see downstairs is his studio. He built. That is closer to $1 million. I can't say the exact number, but it's over 500,000. It's less than $1 million. Remember, went from 18,000, and then you end up getting closer to $1 million. That's over a 5-year period. Had me do it, ask questions on it, but that was the meeting we had about the studio, the first one. I presented with a number, and he rejected it so fast. He was laughing. He thought it was a joke. We presented it at like 1.3 because these numbers don't make sense. Which is not untrue, but one of my bosses was telling me that we should inflate some numbers because the way fundraising usually works. If something costs $18,000, you ask for $25,000. That's stop. Everyone knows that. But once you get into the higher numbers of like $1 million, you're trying to pay at cost, you can't really maneuver those as much. Now, if there's a policy, which we just implemented, which I thought was genius, 15% always goes to overhead. So if you give $1 million, 15% is always going to go, and that's the general rule across the board. I actually think that's genius, and we're not doing that at the time. But this is what he said. Because he built a relationship, and it's not about money, okay? He said, I want to hold on to this proposal. I want to know where we started. So that when we finish, we know where we were and where we are now. And he actually sent us to a colleague of his that made a studio. He wanted us to go see it. We can see how much it actually cost. And then after that, we ended up getting on there. We asked him for a number, and he goes, "I'm actually going to double that. Year 1, we'll help you build it out, and then we'll support it at $100,000 for a certain period of time, so you guys can continue staffing and build it up." But note that it's not just about the money, right? We built that relationship over a period of time. We set him up with learning. He loves the people in Aish. He knows his money goes to a good place. Okay, and we ask him twice a year, and whenever I call him, he'll answer or pick up the phone. We'll take a meeting. His kid just got bar mitzvah. We sent him flowers and a candy platter for the bar mitzvah. Like, you're not just an ATM. There's a relationship, but it's not. Be careful. You're not friends. You're not friends. That's where everyone gets messed up. Everyone wants to be friends. You're business partners. Don't expect to be invited to the wedding, because that's not where your job is. Your job is to be a business partner with him. He gives you money. You do good things with his money. He can then brag about the fact that I was changing the world through Aish. or through whatever company you're running, but you're not friends. Don't try to be friends. If you find you're getting too close to being a friend, you're really running into a problem. Because then it's like, oh, why'd you do that to me? Why'd you not do that to me? If you keep it professional all the way through, when someone knows I walk in, I'm authentic. I care about what they're saying. I also know that I'm here on business. And I'm not. There's that line that you cannot cross. It's like playing chess, like we said in the beginning. And you're playing chess across the board. So you could be friends, and you wish them milestone on this, but there's just you have to make sure that they understand your business partners. Yeah.
So what about asking for money from a very close mentor that has a lot of money? Just so you're clear of that.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Keep going.
You have a great mentor.
Yeah.
Who wants to invest in you, right? Because he sees value in you. But you're worried if it goes south for whatever reason, you've given a plethora of reasons, that relation's also going to go south.
Okay, so let's go back to authenticity. Okay, so how would you approach that conversation? I mean, you are worried about it.
Yeah.
So what do you say?
Be honest with him. Hey, I'm worried about this. I'm worried if this goes south, what this will do to our relationship.
What do you think? And let
I
him.
don't care.
Exactly, because he's a mentor, right? He's trusting you. There's a guy that we were running a program, and he built hotels.com and kayak, whole thing, right? And he understands that when you invest in something online, it's a shot in the dark. He invested a lot of money, okay, and the program he invested in didn't go well. And he understood it, but he also wanted us. At a certain point, after he invested that money, he thought we were ahead of the game, and he wanted us to cut everything. He wanted us to cut the yeshiva. He wanted us to cut the bill. He wanted us to sell this building and just focus online. And he wanted to see the investment equal that, and we couldn't do it. Even though he's a great partner, he was multiple millions. But we're not gonna do that because these all go hand in hand. And he wants, first of all, if we sell this building, I never have to fundraise again in my life. Mm-hmm. 500 million. Build a campus somewhere in the town for 200 million, and then put the rest in an endowment, and we're good to go. But we're not going to do that. It's not yet. Still the dollar. But it was still the dollar shekel differences. Right? But so that conversation was, we can't get there. So now he's like, okay, you know what? And this is I just didn't even put this on it. This is a great one. He comes back and he says, okay, if you guys are going to do it, you're not going to see the money that you were expecting from me. How would you respond to that? Come on, guys. You already know where we're going to go with this. So don't say, okay, thank you. That's what mediocre people do. Give me a real answer. How would you approach it? Again, you're getting rejected, but the counter rejection is what separates the good fundraisers from the great fundraisers. How do you counter it, huh?
You keep the door open.
How would you keep the door open? You're right, but what would you say?
You make like a joke and you say, I'll send you
Do
proposal.
not make a joke.
No, I don't mean that kind of joke. I mean like you say, oh, don't worry, I'll send you like an amount that's like maybe like half or whatever you think you might get.
You're close.
But what's the sentence?
He said, so just so you know, you're not going to get the money that you're expecting from me because you guys aren't where I want you to be.
Well,
Come on, what do you got?
Okay, about the future, we are working on some great plans, and I'm sure you will like them. But for now, would you want to meet regardless? I'm sure you will like our future plans, but for now, we'd love to keep this relationship with you.
You're right in the ballpark. You're right there. But let's flesh it out more.
You ask him where he wants to be, but like you ask him about him.
Yes, you do, but not right away. That's where you're right. You're on the right track. Yeah.
Maybe you could find 30 minutes, walk through what the roadmap looks like for Aish, talk to him about, like Dylan said, what he wants, and figure out.
You're close, but the problem is that we did that over the past 3 years. We've gone through a roadmap already, and then he doesn't like where we're turning. So remember, no one's been ready the last $1 million. So what would you say?
Where else are you giving?
One, great question when you're in the room and you don't know and you can't do the right research. Say, oh, what are your top philanthropic giving that you're giving to now? But the way I would respond and then answer this, you guys can ask as many questions as you want. It's already 3 o'clock. You would go with, okay, thanks, I understand, but would it be okay if I approach you in the future with the same project? And he's like, yes, I'll keep giving at the level that I'm giving to now. Now, he doesn't understand that his level was different than what he's giving now. But I think in his mind, he was giving what he was giving. And he gives every year, like clockwork. And no one gives away less than nothing. We're just not his tops. We're not tier 1. Right? But we left the door open to go back for future projects that I think he'll be interested in. Like this whole Aish thing that we're doing, right up his alley. So, there's that. We'll end with the fact that patience and persistence, right? Patience and persistence. Fundraising is an art. It's not a science. Each person, and that's what's most exciting about it. The last show I was in, it was repetitive. It got boring after 15 years, right? But fundraising, everyone's different. It's a different game plan for everybody. It's an art. It's not a science, especially in the room. That's the best time. You're just playing chess all day. And then lastly, go till no. Unless someone says no, you keep going back, and don't be scared of rejection. If you're scared of rejection, you're in the wrong business. Hopefully the basics were good enough. Guys, thank you. And any questions? Someone has my phone number.
You have all of us.
What do you say?
You're prospects in 5 years too.
Got that right.
Instead of just proposals like Eli Beer with United Hatzalah, I've noticed with some of their fundraising efforts, they have all different